the chairperson of the business committee, business development committee. So this is really his his field. And then we have Fulgence Kage, who has the Kage Commercial Group in Westchester, in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Mama Yolande Ndonga, who has a law firm of Dinago Ndonga law firm, and she's based in Westchester, Ohio as well. So that's the people that you have in place here to listen to you. We go from there.
Well, I told Dr. Pashi that I don't know like 3 French words. So, bonjour, bienvenue, and let's get started. The only other word I know is manger.
Manger. Right. If you were in our committee, we put manger at the table. So. That's good already. That's a good start. That's 3. The other day you said 1.
I did.
That's 3. Yeah, okay. That's very good.
So thank you so much for being here. My name is Amber David. I am the small business specialist here at LISC. I'll give you an overview of who our organization is. If you want to know a little bit about me, I can do that too, whatever you like. So here at LISC, that is short for Local Initiatives Support Corporation. We're headquartered in New York. We have 31 offices throughout the U.S. and we also have a rural footprint as well. So we work in the field of comprehensive community development. So that's why you see these maps up here, because we work in neighborhoods to help residents be a part of the change that they see happening in their community, as well as to take on leadership roles so that no one feels that they're left behind as development is happening. So there are several different areas. One would be financing for affordable housing. Another is small business financing, and kind of, I guess, even a level above that is economic development. So under economic development, we have small business financing, helping to revitalize business corridors, as well as workforce or talent development. So helping folks to get connected to organizations that can help them to get the right skills to be able to take advantage of construction jobs and all those different types of things. And then we also something called creative placemaking. So that's when residents, for instance, can get involved in community projects, art projects, beautification, murals, things that help them, again, to feel part of their community and more connected to one another. So I want to give you the big picture, just to show you that even with small business financing, like it plugs into a broader scope, a large mission. So in my role, I manage all of our relationships for small business financing and do the underwriting and origination. From beginning to end, I'm who people see when they want to talk about small business. Yeah. So one of the programs that we offer is called Kiva, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. But before I jump into that, is there anything that you all would like to know about LISC, maybe based on what I've shared thus far?
Any questions?
So far, so good.
So far,
So far, so good.
Yes.
Okay. D'accord?
D'accord. That's good. I mean,
I had a Senegalese professor in undergrad who would say that all the time. I'm like, I guess you can throw that in anywhere?
Yes, you can. D'accord is a good word.
So we're going to go through the slide, or through the pages here. What you'll notice on the front, it does say information session and application workshop. So what I did was I just pulled some of the slides from the actual workshop that I would do with the businesses. So it's not fully what the businesses would see, but just to give you kind of a little bit of an inclination. Okay? So I kind of already talked through who we are at LISC, and you can, after this session, you can feel free to look through these numbers more in depth. But just,
I guess the question
sure.
would be, For the 14.6 million, this is just for Cincinnati? For Greater Cincinnati?
Greater Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so what is Kiva and what is this partnership that we have with Kiva? So actually, although I have these slides here, I don't usually like just read off of these things.
Okay.
These are more so for you to have a reference afterwards.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of flow, if that's okay.
Yes, that's okay.
That's fine.
All right. So Kiva is a nonprofit that is based in California. It's been around since 2005, and their mission is to get access to capital just to regular people around the world. So they started off as an international type of microfinance platform. And then here recently, I don't want to get my numbers mixed up. I want to say at least they've been doing it now in the U.S. for 5 years, if not more, where it's an online platform where you tap into, business owner will tap into its network in order to raise the funds that it's going after. So are you familiar with GoFundMe or Kickstarter?
GoFundMe, yes.
Okay, so it's similar to those two platforms in that everything is online. So it's, you know, it's crowdfunded, the communication is online, funds are dispersed online, but it's different in that it is actually a loan, but it's 0% interest and no fees. And so, I know it sounds too good to be true, but it's true. And so what LISC has done is we've entered into a partnership back in 2015 where we are finding organizations and individuals such as yourselves who have relationships with business owners and can vouch for a business. And so we call those partners our trustees. And when a business is endorsed on the platform, Kiva platform by a trustee, that allows us to offer a dollar for dollar match of the funds that they raise. So if they're going after $5,000, they really only have to raise $2,500, and LISC puts in the other half. But it's a dollar for dollar incremental. So as $25 comes in, we put in $25 and so on until they get to their goal. So since 2015, we've helped over 100 businesses across the entire U.S. to get access to Kiva, and we have offered over $200,000 of matching funds. So this is really the only option that we offer for startups, because it could be a startup, it could be a business that's already in operation who can take advantage of these funds. But when you look at all the other tiers of financing that we offer, one, interest comes into play for those other options. And those are for businesses that have at least 2 years in operation. Okay. So this really is the tool that we use for those startups. Yeah.
And for startups, there's no fee, right?
Right.
On whatever amount of money is raised.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll get into some of the details now. If you want to go to the trustee page, and I'll tell you a little bit about the potential role that you could play. So, as I said, trustees are organizations that offer their endorsement of a business on the Kiva website. And the reason why that's important is because Kiva is based on character rather than credit. So, you know, most traditional business loans, they're looking for credit, they're looking for collateral. We look for the same thing on our other options, our other products. But for Kiva, it's all about the character of the business. And so how does Kiva get to that? One is by an endorsement from a trustee. Two is by the business tapping into its network in order to raise some of the funds. So as a trustee, there's no legal obligation. I should say that there's no legal obligation.
No
agency relationship, principal agent, no.
Nothing.
Okay.
There's no legal obligation and no financial obligation for the trustee. It's just that on the Kiva website, what happens is, just like on Facebook and all those other social media sites, a profile is created on Kiva for the business. And on the right-hand side, you would see that a business has been endorsed by, sorry, give me your name. Yolanda, for example. Okay. That they were endorsed by you, and you write why you think that this business is viable and why they're ready for financing. And so when Kiva reviews the application, they say, okay, this business is being endorsed by one, Yolanda, and two, it's a partner with LISC, right? So having our name on it as well gives kind of that extra boost to the application because we were their largest organizational partner in the U.S. How's this all sounding so far?
Sounds like looking at the credit.
Right, yeah. Instead of looking at the, exactly,
Yeah.
instead of looking at the credit, looking at the character by way of the endorsement.
Right.
And so far, how is the business going to be connect with the trustees? That's the part I didn't get.
So there are two ways. Either if a business comes to me and says that they, we talk about their needs and they say, oh, Kiva would be a great fit for you, then I think about all of the different trustees that we have. We have about 10. And think about which of those organizations could be a good match for the business. And then I approach that trustee and say, will you be a trustee for this business? Or let's say you all were trustees and you already have businesses in mind, then you are sending that business a referral link and they're able to use that link to then work on their application.
So for example, the Congolese community, which is a 501c3 organization, can become a trustee.
Yes.
And by doing that, then we can actually support some of the businesses.
But from what she said before, it looked like Kiva has a list of at least 10 trustees.
Now we can become 11.
Sorry, I meant the list local group. So we have a list of 10, but yes,
They
like
recruit.
maybe you didn't realize this is what's happening. I'd love for you all to become a trustee. So yes, you can be the 11th.
Yeah.
So
There's a question.
oh sure.
If I understood, you're saying that before even going on Kiva site, apply, and we have to go through you first, right?
So the way that it works is what you would do as the trustee, I would send you like all the links to fill out your trustee application. It's basically like 3 questions. Who are you? What do you do? How would you support business owners? You complete that application, and once you get your approval, you'd let me know, and that way I can communicate with the LISC national team to turn on the dollar-to-dollar match. So it's helpful to remember that there are just 2 distinct organizations. Kiva is one organization that actually has the platform, and LISC, we're the other organization that's providing the match. Yeah.
So you're matching on the funding.
Yes.
$1 by if you need 5,000, you raise to
2,500 and then we match 25.
Right. And so if the goal is 5,000, the business would never go over that. That's what they've been approved for. Yeah. So let's talk about some of the responsibilities of a trustee. So you actually made my point for me. It's that first one of finding the businesses or identifying the businesses that you think could benefit from this program. And then kind of talking to the business about the loan amount that they might be considering. Because, maybe that they just started yesterday and have $2 to their name. But that's okay, but that means they probably shouldn't try to get a $5,000 loan. The bottom of Kiva is 500, the top is 10,000. So maybe in conversations you say to that business owner, I think right now you can handle $750 and repay that, and then we'll reevaluate if you should try for a larger sum. Yeah. No financial and legal liability.
So in essence, borrowers have to be realistic in terms of what it is that,
Right.
how much they can borrow, and are they able to kind of pay back?
Right.
And that goes from 5,000 to 10,000.
500
Oh,
to
500.
10,000.
500 to 10,000. So now, let's say if a business is in need of, let's say, 10,000, right?
Mhm.
So the business, the matching is dollar for dollar,
Mhm.
and the business manager to raise 10,000. So what do you do?
They meet the goal?
Yeah, so if,
And there's no match there.
There's not much.
well, so Kiva is intended for folks who just couldn't go out and get the money by themselves.
Right.
So if they could get 10,000 on their own, then they probably
Don't
don't.
need Kiva.
They probably don't need it, and that's wonderful. That's great because we're, you know, in all that list does, I always like to say we're not trying to replace the bank. We're just available for folks who can't access that traditional funding at this time. So maybe what you might want to do with that person is say, okay, give to someone else's campaign, because it sounds like maybe they might be able to do that. But that's a great question. And then the other thing is that, as I said, this is all online, right? Asking for the loan and receiving the funds and all of that. So the responsibility of the trustee is to help the borrower, that business, throughout the entire process. So while they're trying to get their funds, while they're letting people know about it, and then even during the repayment process. So if a business has thinks that they might be like late on a payment, we want them to feel comfortable to come and talk to you about it, and not just kind of let it happen. Talk to you and you know, get Kiva involved, because the as I mentioned, this is a true loan, right? And it's also a way to build business credit. So every time a repayment is made, it's reported to all the appropriate credit bureaus. But if there's going to be a missed payment, we want to know about that ahead of time. So it's helpful for you all to, you know, just stay in communication. And that communication can be as often as you want. It doesn't have to be all the time. It's really up to you to decide that level of involvement.
How about business losing our endorsement? Like, what they get the money and then they do not support, I mean, what we do, or they do something that we don't like. What's going to happen to them? Are they staying with you, or
So that would be, so they would still be like having to repay the loan. But if you have some insight that you wanted to share as the trustee with myself, to give me a heads up, or to say, hey, Amber, there might be a problem, I would certainly appreciate getting that notice, and then we can try to work it out. Now, the thing with Kiva is, it is a loan, right? But no one's going to come after a business if they don't repay the loan. But we don't want to tell the business that, because, you know, we want them to use this as a tool. And also, because they're tapping into their network, if they don't repay their mom, dad, uncle, sister, like, people are gonna. And I imagine in your community, that's word's gonna travel fast. So
because I was saying that because of our image, you know, you endorse someone and then they default, and then you get someone and then they default, or they disappear. It's not good for us. So if we notice something like that, can we take our endorsement out?
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you do the endorsement, it is there, like you can't pull
take
it.
it away.
But that is a great point. So what happens is, as a trustee, you have what's called a trustee dashboard, where you can see all of the active loans, all of the ones that are in application mode, the whole life cycle. And there is a section that shows your data of how many loans are out there, how many are performing, what's been repaid, things like that.
I mean, maybe inactive.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you can use that information how you would like. So for instance, if you, let's say you approach different organizations for grants, you might be able to say, these are the neighborhoods that we're having an impact in based on the businesses, or, you know, these are how many businesses we've supported, men versus women. You can slice and dice that data the way you like.
Also, I think what
yeah.
I heard was the fact that you need to vet.
So
Folks that you are recommending,
Yeah.
that you're endorsing, you need
I want
to
you to
vet
get
them.
there, I want you to ask them, can we participate in the due diligence?
Yes.
Because,
Oh, yeah, that's
you know,
totally up
someone
to
can
you.
be endorsed by us, and then they go to you and lie to you, and we do not know.
The way I see it, is even before endorsing someone, somebody has to go through counseling. Counseling, coaching, and then you endorse. And so that way, at least the person knows what to expect. Yeah. So because they're building the credit for themselves, but also helping the trustee build more credit as well.
Yeah.
So you have to vet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to vet before you recommend.
And you're in charge of that process.
Right.
Even if a business says to me, Amber, I want endorsement from the Congolese community, I can't do it. Like, I can't press a button for them to have that. They have to actually come and talk to whoever you designate.
I
Yes.
see.
And that person will say, okay, you're ready for the endorsement, or you're not ready for the endorsement yet. I think you need to do X, Y, and Z over the next few weeks, and then we'll, discuss
okay.
it. So that part of the process is totally up to you.
Yeah.
And you're also in charge of, when you create your profile, there will be a referral link that is generated, and you can send that link to the business owners when you think that they're ready to actually complete their application.
Right. So internally, we have to put that mechanism in place. Basically, it has got to be part of the community, but we can talk about it.
And do they like have any type of business that they want to see or they want to finance, or it's
You're
what
in
kind
sync. Let's keep going.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Ahead of time. Ahead of
Lone
time.
purpose. Here we go.
Did you finish though with the responsibility?
So with the only, I think we did touch on everything, and
So
the fact
no
that.
financial or legal liability. The last one is help support borrowers throughout the KIVA process. Okay. All right. All right. And then the benefits, of course. Yep. Good.
Okay.
Yep. Sure.
So businesses, most businesses can take advantage of Kiva. The ones that I'll call to mind that I'll call out are like multi-tier marketing organizations like Avon, Tupperware, Primerica, like those types of things. Kiva, those are ineligible. And then the other would be like franchises. Those are not eligible for Kiva either. Everything else though is pretty much open.
So if someone has a business and wants to buy a car for that business, that's eligible.
So I want to say yes. The thing is though, with these uses, the business has to convince the online network that the cause is worthy. So if they just say like, I'm going to go buy 2018 Camry for my business, no one, like, I don't think anyone's going to buy into that.
Yeah. Let me be specific.
But if they say like a food truck, for
a
instance.
food truck or a school bus to take the kids
Yes.
from school to,
Yes.
okay, good.
So in that sense, yeah. So acceptable loan uses would be like equipment, point of sale system, inventory. Even if someone is trying, they just need, there's a gap in the financing that they need to renovate a space for their business.
How about expanding your business?
Expansion.
Yeah. But what about new immigrants who are coming in, don't have transportation, but this transportation company wants to buy a bus to take them to work and back home? Would that be a way because would that be something that could be funded?
Can we talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, sure.
So, can you like give me, so a small,
It's like
is it a small business owner who owns?
a shuttle bus, so to speak, a
Okay.
shuttle kind of transportation to take immigrants or new immigrants who are coming to the community from the residents, wherever they live in, to work and back
Yeah.
until they establish themselves.
Right. Yeah, that sounds right to me.
Okay.
The only thing I will say is that as far as the actual business owner,
Mhm.
it is, I guess one of the caveats is Kiva is hoping for it to be households that have, make $100,000 or less
Or less.
a year. So if that's being run, if the actual shuttle business is run by someone who makes, a household that makes under that,
Mhm.
then yes.
Then that's okay.
Yeah,
Good.
that's creative.
But also,
I like that.
I'm assuming for that business to be eligible, the business has to be registered in the state of Ohio, right? Or have, no, they have to be registered.
As
in
in the
state of
business
Ohio?
itself?
As a business, yeah. It can't be an
Give some
informal,
great
it can't be an
questions.
informal business, it has to be registered, right?
No, it can be an informal business.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting, okay.
So this, it's really about
Because she
both-
says it's just like a startup.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have
It's
to
like a
start a
startup.
business.
yeah, it's startups or businesses that have been around for a while. Either it's the
But
whole
they have to be
gamut.
startup in, we have to have 2 years in.
No, sorry. So the 2-year piece
Lisk.
is for the other list of products.
Okay.
But
All
for
right.
Lisk and Kiva partnership,
No,
any length of business,
okay,
including day 0.
okay,
Mm.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was something you mentioned that I wanted to go back to.
It's about the registration stuff. Are you gonna check that or? you
So,
sure
All
that-
business
a
do not
business-
need to be registered. It depends on the form of business you're doing. If you're doing like just a partnership, like you just say, hi, we're doing that. You
Like
don't
an
need
informal
really
business.
to have
Like,
all this paper.
a man, a BD trying to do,
Or
Fixed
solo,
up.
you like doing business under your name. I mean, you just solo like that. You don't really need, unless you want a form like LLC or all these forms,
Yeah.
you need to
Yeah.
register them, this
Okay.
stuff like that.
okay,
It depends
All
how
right.
you're doing it.
all right.
If you're doing it like you want to have a business register, then this is different. But if you can do business only online under your name.
Yeah, you can, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You can do that. So individuals, others can actually apply for Kiva.
Right, right.
All right,